Okay, so we will see the next lab, which is Dataflow Quick Start Python. So it's a very basic fundamental lab, which is related to the Dataflow. And in this lab, what we have to do is, so the main task is, so we have one program available with us. We don't need to write any code. So one program is available already written for us, and it is written in the Python. That is a simple word count program. What it will do is, it will read some text file, and it will tell the frequency of each and every word. Let's suppose there is a long text file, and let's suppose there are so many words. So it's a whole paragraph. So it will give you the output, and the output will be the word and the count of the particular word. Let's suppose the word will come 10 times, right? So any other, like a country come 2 times, Google comes 1 time. So this will give you this output. This is simple word count program, but this is a Dataflow our lab. So in this we we have to write the program in the Python, but not a very generic Python, but we have to use the Apache Beam library for the Dataflow. So we have to write our program in a form of a pipelines, because we have to run the program. We have to run our program in the Dataflow. So Dataflow is one of the service into the Google Cloud platform. So as part of this lab, what we will do is, we will use the already written word count program, and we will run locally that particular Python code. So to run locally, a very normal command, that is the Python, and then the name of the program. That's it. So we will run the program locally, and the output will be stored locally. And then what we will do, we will run it remote. So remote means it should be run on the Google Cloud. So on the Google Cloud, we have the Cloud Dataflow service. So under the service, we have the jobs. So we could see, okay, the jobs has been started, right? So and if we are running locally, then the output will be stored locally as well. But if we are running on the remote, then our output should also be stored on the Google Cloud. And for the storage, we will use the Google Cloud storage bucket, GCS. So because when we run the program locally, we have to store our output into the GCS. So as part of this lab, we will also create the Google Cloud storage bucket. So let's start the lab. Copy the password. Okay, so we have opened the Google Cloud platform. So what we have to do is, we have to create the cloud storage bucket. So I have in the cloud storage bucket here. Otherwise, you can just scroll down, and under the storage section, you have the cloud storage, and just click on it. So as of now, we don't have any bucket available. So we have to create a bucket. Click on the create bucket. Here we have to give the unique name. All right. So our project ID is unique. So we will use the project ID as a bucket name. All right. Okay. Then we have to choose the location type, whether we want to make it multi-region, dual region, or region. So we will make it a regional only, and as part of the region, we will use the US center one. It is mentioned basically in the lab. So we have to use the location type as a region, and the location is US center one. So US interval, then continue, and the rest all the setting will be remain same, and then we will just simply create. So a bucket has been created. Right now we don't have anything available with us, right? Now we will open activate the cloud shell. So we have this icon here, and we can open the activate the cloud shell, because as part of this lab there are two things. First, we need to run the our program locally. So locally means like we will run on the VM just. So let me open this window in some new tab. So to open the window in the new tab, click on this icon, like open in a new tab, so that I can maximize that. Yeah, so here I can maximize it. Yeah, okay. So everything is completed. So okay, cloud storage we have created, bucket has been created, so that is done. Okay, so here like we have some pre-requirement, and the requirement is like very basic. So it's a Python lab, and we have to like write our program. So they told that because we have to run the cloud data flow jobs, it doesn't matter whether we run locally or whether we run on the remote. Basically cloud data flow like works on the Apache Beam technology. So you can say that we have to run our Apache Beam job, either we will run it locally or either we will run it remote. So the pre-requirement is the Python version should be like minimum should be 3.7, and the pip version should be 7.0. So let's see like what is our Python version. So Python version is 3.7.3, so that is fine. So let's check the pip version. So pip version is also 18.1, so that is also okay. And the other thing is like generally like it is recommended like to create the virtual environment, right? So to create the virtual environment, like we have so many options like virtual environment and a library. So first we like install the virtual environment library, just pip3 install virtual environment. Here like if it already exists, then it will upgrade it. Okay, so virtual environment library has been installed. So now we will like create a one environment with the name env. So virtual, by using the library virtual environment minus p python 3.7 and env. So sorry. So virtual environment has been created. If we do ls, we could see env is here. So now we will like activate the environment env slash source env slash bin slash activate. So now we could see like our environment has been activated. So like any library like we will install into this. Now we have to install the Apache Beam, because it's not a like a normal Python script like a normal inbuilt utility, but we have to use the third-party libraries to make the like to use the functionality of the Apache Beam. So we have third-party library available, pip install Apache Beam and the GCP. So it will install so many other things like PyArrow, HDFS, Future Module, AVRO, Google Cloud Dataflow, so many things it will install. URLlib. Like it has installed so many things. Protoplus, PyDot, PyMongo, Google Cloud BigQuery, Bigtable, API client, API tool, so many things, data store, data spanner, pub sub, so many things that has been installed internally. Right, so now we have installed the Apache Beam. So under the Apache Beam library we have the world count program available by default, so we will run that. So if you want to look at the code of the this program, so if you see the Apache Beam library, so this is the official GitHub repo. So I can provide this link into the description tab if you want. So if you go to this URL link, and this is the official Apache repository, they see this is a verified repo Apache Beam. So under that, we have the Python folder and the Apache Beam and the example, and then world count program is already available. And if you look at this program, so it's not a normal Python program, it's right. So the program is even we can write this program using a normal Python dictionary, if just we have to read the input file and make a list of that file and count the frequency of each and every word. Right, we can do that, but here our purpose is to run as a data flow. So data flow means data flow basically is a name of the tool, nothing else, but at the back end it use the Apache Beam. So that's why we use the Apache Beam library. And under the we have already generally whenever any library given, so some programs inbuilt programs available. So under the Apache Beam examples worldcount.py, so this program already available. So if I have to execute this program, so we will just write Python and then the name of the program, that's it, Python -m means just if we have to execute some module. So it's a basically module. Apache Beam is a module which we have installed. So under the Apache Beam we have the examples, and under the examples we have the world count, right. So if you could see, under the Apache Beam we have the example, and under the example we have the world count, right. So we have to execute this, and we want the output could be minus output file. So this is basically the required parameter. If you look at the code of this, so output is minus output is the required parameter, so we have to give that minus output. I think it will not work if I don't give. So it is giving me the error that invalid argument or minus output argument is required, right. So let me execute this. So right now we are executing it locally. So yeah, so it's finished. So if I let me clear the screen, if I just do ls, so you could see one output file is generated. So we can see the content of the particular output file. So you could see it's just a word count, a basic program. So how many word the frequency of each and every word in the corresponding text, and they are reading some Shakespeare text. Let me show you as well. Yeah, so they are reading minus input is the input is hard coded, so we don't need to pass that input. If we want otherwise it will use this default input. If we want our input, we can pass that as well, alright. So but this is default, so that's why it is not a required argument. But if we pass our minus input parameter, then all this parameter will get overridden. So right now they have some text file available, and this text file stored in some Google Cloud storage bucket, and which is the public bucket. So here it is available some text file, and they are reading this text file and running this pipeline, that is the Apache Beam module, right. It's not a normal Python program, but syntax is Python, how to define the function, right, how to call the function, how to pass use the logging functionality, how to use the split functionality, like all the, it's a Python code but using the Apache Beam, right? So we have run it locally. Now the next thing is we have to run it remotely. So if we have to run it remotely, then as well, as I told you, we have to store the output in some cloud storage bucket. So what we will do is we will we have already created the bucket, but we will define some variable bucket. So if we do echo $bucket, so we can see that we have defined some variable, so that we don't need to wherever I have to use the bucket, I just mention $bucket rather than every time mentioning the whole the bucket name, that is gs : / and the bucket name, right? So now I have to run the same program, but this time I will run it on the cloud. So it's the same program, Python -m, then the same program Apache beam.example.world account, but as I have to execute it in the cloud, so I have to pass some extra arguments. So what extra argument is, in the cloud under which project I have to run, right? So -- project and then the project name, right? And after that where I have to store this, so I have to store this output is the bucket location. So under the bucket under the bucket it should be the results folder, and the results folder will automatically get created, and under that it should be the output, right? And as is a Dataflow pipeline, so what could be the runner, so runner is a Dataflow runner, right? And when if you have some basic idea of the cloud Dataflow, so whenever any pipeline will run on the Dataflow, it creates some staging file and some temporary files. So we have to create the bucket as well, so that it can the files which is being internally created, that is the staging file and the temporary file, it will use that. So we have mentioned the staging location as and the temporary location, and the staging and temporary location with the in the same bucket as well, but under the staging folder and the temporary folder, right? Now we have run it. So if we go, it has been started, but if we go to if I open the cloud Dataflow, so cloud Dataflow is available in under the big tool, big data basically. So cloud Dataflow, so right now this got executed and it got failed. So it basically failed because of, let me show you, because of authorization issue. Because the API is not enabled, so we have to enable the API. So let me rerun that. Even if you see that the cloud Dataflow API is not available for your project. So now it started. Even it has been noticed that even the cloud Dataflow API is enabled, but still in the first run generally this job generally get failed, right? So as of now the fix is, I'm not sure even after making the API is enabled and still why the job will get failed. So what I generally did is I re-execute the job and then it ran fine. So now it is running. So if you look at the storage, you could see earlier we don't have anything in the storage, but now you could see some staging folder, some temporary folder, some results folder. So let me go into the bucket. So staging folder, some temporary folder, right? Output will become once the job will be get completed. So it's a temporary folder, it's a beam. So beam means like a Apache beam. Right, so job is running, so let's wait. So it is still running. So what it basically is doing is, if you let me show you the code as well. So the first step is read, right? So if you look at the code, this Python code, right? So it is using the arg parse module. So why it is using the arg parse? So if we have to accept some argument while running the code, generally we write some code right, and we execute in Python and then the name of the file. But if we have to pass some argument as well, then there is a library, that is the arg parse, and there are more libraries as well. It is not just only one library, but there are multiple libraries, so we can use any library. But as of now they are using the arg parse, which is generally commonly used libraries. So they are using arg parse library, and they are accepting the argument. So you could see, so arg parse, the argument parser, and they have mentioned that we have to pass the input, we have to pass the output argument, right? And also let me show you. Now this is the main function. So first it will call this run function. So if I go to the run function, in the run function it is just defining the what all the arguments we need, like minus input, minus output, right? And now it has defined the pipeline, right, with beam pipeline, and under the pipeline what all the options it has to be there. So first option is read. So let me show you. So first option is read, right? Second option is split. So after read, second option is split. So whatever the option you could see in the quotes, so that is the name of the particular step. So first it will read the text file, then it will do the split. So basically whatever operation we will generally do using our normal Python code, we have to write the same Python code using the Apache Beam library. So the first option is read. So to read the file, we have the read from text. So in the Apache Beam.io, right, in the IO we have the a function read from text, and in the IO as well, input output, we have the function write to text, right? So we have to do is read from text, and all these options we have to define under the pipeline. So first we have to create the pipeline, and everything we will define under the pipeline. So first option is read, right, and the second is the split, and the split will be pair with one, and the group and the sum. So let me show you. So yeah, the pipeline is basically completed. So after the split, you could see a pair with one and the group and the sum, right? And under the group and the sum, it is a combine, format and write. So where is the code? So group and the sum, so it's a format and write, and there should be combine as well, combine per key. So whatever the functions we have to write, so that is basically a one step, and just the name of the step which we have to do, and what that particular step do is, so we can either use the inbuilt functions which is available as part of the Apache Beam library, or we can create our own functions. Let's suppose world extract do function is we have created this function, like class world extract do function. We have created this class, right? So under that we have like all this function, and we are just executing our normal Python code using the regular expression find all, and it will find all the worlds. So it will return a list, and we drill the particular element. So in the element it is actually one line. So using the do function we can pass our own inbuilt function, or you can say class, right? So even I don't have like much idea like how to write the Apache Beam code. So yeah, we have write it. So our pipeline is completed. We can check the job state is still not done, but it's completed now. So we could see the result folder, and under the result folder you can see the output, and if you click on the link we can see the output, that is a normal world count program. Why it is not the job is completed, job is succeeded. Yeah, sometimes take time. Yeah, so a normal basic MCQ. So Dataflow temporary location must be valid cloud storage URL. Yeah, definitely okay, because when we run the Dataflow pipeline, so it use some staging files, it use some temporary files. So if we are running on the cloud, so where it will store those files, so we have to store the file into the cloud storage. So that is true. So yeah, that's the end of this lab. So basically as part of this lab, it's a very quick start lab which has ideas. If we have to run the Dataflow job using the Python, and how we can run that, we can run it locally, we can run it remote. If we have to run it remote, we have to create the cloud storage bucket. If we run it locally, the output file will be stored if the particular program will create output file, right? Let's suppose we are running the world count, then the output file will be stored locally, right? If we have to run it locally, then we will simply run python 3 and the name of the file. Otherwise we have to pass a number of arguments like Dataflow runner, the staging, temporary location, output, right? So we can find all these parameter into the official documentation. Along with that, this program is written in Apache Beam, so we have to install the Apache Beam library, pip install Apache Beam. And if someone wants to see how what this program is doing, then that person can look at this GitHub repo. It's their official documentation repo. So, and world count program is the part of this Apache Beam library. So, and we are using the inbuilt program, so, and executing that. I never work on the Apache Beam, basically never wrote the code, write the code of the Apache Beam. So I can just understand what these are doing, but not fully understand, and also I can't write from scratch. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the lab.